Good morning. Welcome to Sunrise Stroll and Chat. This is the latest I've started ever, and you just missed a beautiful first moment of sunrise. I'm sorry, but I was on Instagram Live and I thought I'd make it, but there you have it. You have it now. You still have lots of joy in this sunrise. And we're in a new location here in Galilee, obviously, the Sea of Galilee. Let me show you just the expanse of the sea from this perspective. Isn't that a lot? So right across from us now you're looking at Tiberias. And the expert pilgrims can tell Tiberias is right in the center of the screen. Let me focus in for you. Okay. So now the expert pilgrims will be able to tell us where we are, if you want to start guessing. And here you're looking at Mount Arbel in the very center of the screen. And behind it, the horns of Hittim. We'll have to talk about that sometime more in depth. And that's Wadi Hamam. I often talk about Wadi Hamam, that valley there behind Mount Arbel, and that's part of the path from Nazareth, which is way in that direction. And if you remember the conversation we had at Tel Kinneret with Yiska Harani a short time ago, let me show you. It's right in the center of the screen now, Tel Kinneret. It's right there, just beyond these banana fields. Okay, so let me go back again to where we started. Well, actually, right up here behind the trees, I got a big surprise, and I won't tell you until we walk back that direction in a few minutes. But you can figure out this. This just look like a bunch of trees and a fence, but actually, there's a huge treasure here, a huge treasure, and we're going to be getting there in a moment. So now let's go back to where we started. So we just did 360 degrees and I didn't get dizzy. Did you get dizzy? Here we are. Oh, by the way, somebody told me yesterday that they're doing a watch party every morning. Maybe a lot of you are doing that and other people are sharing with you. And it's fascinating how people are spreading the word that way, doing a watch party. I really don't know how to do that, but I think there's a button there in the screen and you can do watch party and invite people. Think about it today. Maybe you want to do that. You can also do a watch party afterwards so you can practice and maybe you can get it down. I'm not sure if you can do it when it's live stream, but you can figure that out and share with each other. So now, what are we looking at here? Well, the sun rising, Padre, the Sea of Galilee. Okay, but where? So down there you see a bunch of trees near the water. What is this? This is Capernaum. Wow. This is Capernaum. So let me show you a bit more detail. I'm not sure if the light's going to help us now. I got it on the Instagram one earlier. Yes, you can see it. So I'm going to bring it to the center of the screen. You see in the very center of the screen there's that reddish cupola. It's the Orthodox Church in Capernaum. And if we come back here, we have the Franciscan property, which is where the big synagogue is from the Byzantine period that many of you have visited. And then the Franciscans' residence is there. And obviously the Peter's house with that spaceship type church on top of it. So now the real experts can tell exactly where I'm located. You could probably even fly in here with your eyes closed and you'd know exactly where to get me. Because if we have Capernaum there, and if we have over here all the Sea of Galilee, and now you'll be guessing what's behind my back, if some of you haven't already. And there you have Tiberias in the center of the screen, on the side of the hill. and then you have Mount Arbel and the Horns of Hittim, Wadi Hamam. Okay, so there we are, and right down under these banana trees here, we have the primacy of Peter, where we were yesterday. So I drove there this morning and walked up here and tried to figure out a position where I could give the best to Instagram and the best to Facebook. And now we're ready to walk. So we're going to start walking, people. I want to give you more of the sunrise as much as possible, and then I'll give you a little surprise after that. Let's go back here. It's better to have it all into this size image. Okie doke. So now it'll be a little bit joggy, okay? So just hold your armchair or wherever you are. If you're in bed, just put your head comfortably on the pillow, because we might be bumping a little bit. Okay? So I'm going to keep you there, and I'm going to walk the other direction so that you can see the sunrise. Because we're going to lose it a few moments as we wind our way down through these banana plantations. So I want you to get a good feast of sunrise right now. In fact, I'll just take you around here again. And now you see where we are. At the church of the Mount of Beatitudes. Right in here between the trees. And before we lose the sun now, we can say goodbye to the sunrise for a moment. And we'll be catching it again in other moments, because as it goes higher, it's going to be easier to see it. And so this is the Mount of Beatitudes. I remember a very special session here with the family, with their children, right behind these bougainvillea. And there's a little cover there, which is useful for the sun, or against the sun when people are tired and hot. Lots of groups here on these stones, talking about the Sermon on the Mount, looking out. The Sermon on the Mount is Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. And we were reading it in Luke chapter 6 last week. Luke's version of the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus went up on a hill and he sat down and he taught the multitudes. Now it's very interesting that yesterday we were at Calvary, at the exaltation of the cross. And today we're at the Mount of Beatitudes. Blessedness. A fullness of joy. A fullness of light beaming in to humanity. And now here we are at the Church of the Beatitudes. How many tens of thousands of pilgrims walked around here in this little balcony every day. This was built in 1930s, just before the outbreak of World War II. And the world has been through a lot of travail since then. So you're getting a view now of the banana groves. We're going to be going down there in a little bit. So it's an interesting topic, you know. I'll let you join me here on the path. That yesterday was the suffering and today is the beatitude. But there's another transition in here, and I'd like to share it with you. Let me make this a little bit smaller here so that you don't get as much rockety travel. So actually this is a nice place to see the Mount of Beatitudes. If the sun was just a little higher, we'd have a wonderful glow behind this church. I'll have to come back and do that another time. But I need to get going down just time-wise. Hey, that's a nice take. Get your screenshot there, people. Now it'd be lovely if the sun was beaming right there behind it. It's coming, but it'll be there later, another time. See, the bougainvillea are all over the place. They're wonderful. So much joy and colour. So let's go back to our transition. So every one of you, especially if you've been around a few years, you've met people and visited people who have suffered a lot. And you have met people at moments of tragedy, moments of bereavement, moments of deep frustration and upset, of very serious health challenges. And you give them your sympathy, and there's also a farm here. So people farm here, which warms my heart. So a dog might bark here, but don't worry. We'll tell them that you have to behave because they're on live stream. Look, this is from the work with the bananas. These are pieces of banana plants. I wonder what they're going to do with them. If they're just cleaning up or if there's a use for them. I don't know the answer to that question. You know, in Ireland we don't have much chance sowing bananas. Therefore we don't have any experience with it. This is the guest house of the sisters here. And then there's a new one back in the background that was built a number of years ago. And of course, all these hospitality opportunities are closed down. Mount of Beatitudes, the Mount of Beatitudes. Har HaOsher in Hebrew. And this must be Jabal al Tabu. Come on, help me, somebody there. I can't hear you any if you pronounce it right. I'm learning my little bit of Arabic, but little by little. Okay, it says here Makom Kadosh in Hebrew, holy place. Yusant. Okay, entrance from the main gate. So sorry folks, we're not going in today. But there you are. That gate actually is hardly ever open because the entrance is further over here to the right, where the buses arrive. So now we're going to head down a little bit. There might be less sunrise today, but we have a very important topic. And the topic is about this transition from Calvary to Beatitudes. And before we do the transition, you know, I might go down this way here. Are you ready for a risk? So we'll see how this works out, okay? I'm doing a little bit of a risk in the sense of direction, because I don't want to go down through the banana plantations, because then you're not going to see anything. And I want to go down on the east of the bananas, and hopefully we'll still see some sunrise. At some point we have a better chance than if we go down through the middle of the plantations, because they're about 3 meters high if you get up to the covers. The plants are at least 2.5 meters high. So when you go to somebody who's suffering or sick in hospital, or a bereavement, and you're at the funeral, where's your attention focused? Obviously on the closest people who are suffering most. The mother of that child who has cancer. The children of that adult who just passed away. The spouse. So today, after contemplating the exaltation of the cross, we look at the mother. The great teaching of Christianity is the incarnation, that God not only started talking to human beings, not only came into our history, not only chose prophets to speak to us, to teach us, not only chose people and appointed people like Moses to take us out of an earthly slavery, but he became man to save us, definitively, forever. Now you see my choice. If I go down here, there's a good tractor route, but we won't see much of the sunrise. So I'm going to take a chance and go down this way and see where it takes us. So you're along for the ride, okay? I'm not waiting for you to vote on this option. So today is a memory of Mary, the Mother of Sorrows. And this is based on two texts that are very interesting from Simeon's words in Luke chapter 2, which is, a sword will pierce your own soul too, when your son becomes a stumbling block, and many will fall. And a sword will pierce your own soul too, will pierce your heart. So this is Mary. And then if we read John's Gospel at the other end of Jesus' life, there he was just a little tiny baby, and Mary was nursing him. And that little baby is now on Calvary, being crucified. And the hammers are driving in the nails, and there's a shouting going on, and there's stunned silence in many. And so here we are going down here, just so you see. Look at these banana plants up close. Trying to get you a better view there. Wonderful crops of bananas. So there's Mary standing at the cross. It's a very strong word, standing at the cross. She's not broken down. She's not, on the ground collapsing. She's standing. This woman of great strength. And it kind of wakes us up to what mothers endure. And I think this theme is very universal. The suffering mother. The sorrowful mother. For so many reasons, through so many complex pathways. It's amazing. The suffering mother, the theme in history, in family life, in society. And many times that mother bites her lip and can't talk about it. There's nobody to share it with, for all different kinds of reasons. So we have a very universal theme with the contemplation of Mary, and it brings us into the reality of the Incarnation, that Christ's path to Calvary doesn't leave us outside. We're inside with him. We have to go in deep, inside with him, because we're also called to bear fruit. And that fruit is born through suffering, not just through great preaching or ecstatic prayer. Suffering has a huge part in the molding and shaping and redemption of our hearts. And that's what Jesus said. Take up your cross, follow me, deny yourself, take up your cross every day and follow me on the paths of life, no matter where these paths are leading. And the good thing is that Jesus is Emmanuel, God with us. So Mary is not alone. But wow, what is the suffering and the sorrow that's shared between that mother and son. So this has been a very special day for a long time in the piety and reflection of the Christian community. And there's a resonance of suffering in the other family members. And that's why it's important not to neglect it, because God chose to become incarnate and not an abstract zapper from outside. So he spends 9 months in her womb. And that little helpless newborn need so much care, so much embracing, so much hugging. Think of the mothers at the Nile in Egypt with all the reeds and trying to save their babies after the Pharaoh wanted them destroyed. Think of all the grieving mothers, the holy innocents. So many grieving mothers. And all the suffering is not lost. And that's the message of today. Now there's something unique about Mary in her suffering that's different than us. And that is, the angel said, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. Emmanuel. Full of grace. There's no rebellion in Mary's heart. Let it be done unto me according to your word. And this is a very hard path in suffering. To be able to say yes. To be able to accept. To be able to go forward. Not just biting our lip with inner chagrin, but really opening the heart, as painful as it is, to let in the light. To let in the light, step by step. Guys, we're going to walk on now no longer on a path, but on this tilled land, which is also a delight to my heart, because it's a while since I've done that. We'll try and follow the tracks as much as possible. There's a reason why Jesus said he was the way, the truth, and the life. And why he said we follow him, the path, the way. It's always great to have a way that's marked out, because if I have to go through these reeds and make a way, it'll take forever. But even where the tractor tracks have gone, that's already helpful. So it's a lot to think about, people. A lot to think about today here at the Sea of Galilee. There's another little bit of suffering now in here, because yesterday it was announced, or Sunday night, that the government decided to do a new lockdown for 3 weeks. It's very hard for the Jewish people, because this is a time of great celebration. It's the Jewish New Year, starting on Friday night, and there are a whole series of high festivities, the highest festivities of the year. So Rosh Hashanah, and then eventually Yom Kippur, and then Sukkot with the tents. So all that period now is under lockdown, intentionally to try to curb the spread of the corona, which has hit a new high here and has been very severe, relatively speaking, to the size of the smaller population. So then it's very hurtful for us, because we'll have to tell our employees, we're sorry, we just don't have income, we have nothing. We have a little bit of food in the pantry, but that's it. Thanks be to God, we were able to open in the middle of June and receive a lot of guests from then until now. But that's over now for the next 3 weeks, and then let's see what Providence allows, and responsible decision making and responsible behavior by the people. Because really, authority only has to intervene when we're not getting it right or behaving properly. So I encourage all of you as well to take seriously, even though there's debate and dispute about some of the measures. Really, humanity has never been through this before, so everybody is doing, together with analysis and so forth, a bit of guesswork on how to deal with it. So we need to pray a lot for our leaders, for those who are processing all that data, and pray that, there we have the reflection on the lake. I'm so happy. Just before we finish up, it's time. I think I'm over time. So people, it's been a wonderful day, so pray for everybody. Let's accompany those who are suffering most, the closest relatives of people who have gotten very bad news, And let us bereavements and illness, financial ruin, major tensions and difficulties in families that because of all these other pressures. And let's be close and offer comfort. Imagine John assisting Mary into the tomb as they laid Jesus' body and making sure she didn't hit her head on the stone coming out. And then imagine the disciples together, some of them with her, Mary Magdalene, and the other women together with Mary that night. You know, those are nights you don't sleep, and then you have your closest friends around. There's a great principle that sorrow shared is sorrow divided, and joy shared is joy multiplied. Oh, let's turn around and just say goodbye to the Mount of Beatitudes. That's very nice. And then we're all on a path to beatitude. Remember that line I told you before? Through the light, through the cross to the light. Per crucem, in Latin, that's the proverb. Per crucem, through the cross to the light, ad lucem. And then yesterday we were contemplating all this suffering. And it's, sorry about this, let me fix this for you. Be great to have a third hand. There we are. So now you can see a little bit of reflection on the lake. I hope I lift up the camera up higher. And there you have the light of faith enlightening the path of suffering and bringing us to the fullness of beatitude. God bless you. Thank you for joining us this morning at the Sea of Galilee. It's been a great delight. Oops, what happened there? Let's turn this off. How do I do that? There's all kinds of stuff coming in there now and I have no idea. Come on. I've lost my controls here. Oh, there's an X. It's not so easy against the light. Finish. Okay, there we go, people. Going to finish. That's what I looked for. I wanted to say goodbye. And I hit the wrong button. God bless you. See you later.